Ukraine is taking the fight to Russia. For the first time ever in this Russia-Ukraine conflict, Ukraine is not defending anymore. They're going on the offensive. They went 20 miles into Russian territory, which is honestly quite a lot if you think about it for helicopters. They don't have the longest range, but to perform an airstrike with Ukrainian helicopters at low altitude, they went into the city of Belgorod, and they took out a fuel depot. Now, this is a very big news story, considering right now Russia is dangling the fuel keys to the rest of Europe and saying, if you do not pay us in our Russian currency, we're not going to give you guys any fuel, so have fun just trying to survive in your countries. And so Ukraine kind of called their bluff. Not only that, Ukraine knows that Russia has about 70% of their forces not doing so well in Ukraine, so they kind of did like a sneak attack. This is really big news considering Russia's doors were wide open for a counterattack this whole time. When you put 70% of your troops surrounding a country and now are inside of a country, you left the whole door open. Russia is massive. And when would anybody ever think Ukrainian helicopters would go into Russian territory? This is not a border town. This news story wouldn't be that big of a deal if it was a border town, but this goes to show that Ukraine is not playing games and they are literally willing to risk and do whatever it takes. So they took the fight into Russia. This also has a lot of significance because Russian news, Russian media, social media, they are not allowed to report anything negative about what's going on. So right now in Russia, they're not at war. They're on a special mission to go and save Ukraine from the terrorists and blah, blah, blah. But to Ukraine, they're defending their lives. So now, how is Russia going to deal with the fact that their own fuel depot just got taken out by Ukrainian helicopters? I thought Russia was winning this fight. I thought they were just handling the situation, and the fight is being contained inside Ukraine. So this was a very big move politically and militarily for Ukraine. And you know, sometimes they say your best defense is your best offense. I think Ukraine may have just found a new strategy to maybe poke and prod at the bear in Russia. Now, obviously, Ukraine needs to be a little careful because at the end of the day, Russia does technically have a more superior military when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the technology. However, the issue is this. Ukraine has almost taken the Taliban route where they do have a professional military, but they're not going to play to the rules of what Russia wants them to do. They've noticed that Russia is not really playing by the rules of war, and Ukraine's like, you know what? We're not going to sit here and sit in foxholes. We're not going to just sit here and defend ourselves. We're doing that. How about we show Russia what it's all about? You guys like to take out our stuff? We're going to take out your stuff with 2 helicopters. Now, we don't know where the helicopters came from. It could have been supplied from NATO. We don't know. But what we do know is this is a massive tactical switch into how Ukraine is going to start fighting Russia. And like every military conflict ever, the longer and longer the conflict goes, the tactics change. This whole urban warfare thing, the tactics are changing. How you fight against tanks, it's turning into almost a guerrilla warfare with a professional military. It's not fighting one-on-one like back in the 90s when the United States was fighting against the Iraqi military in open desert combat. Ukraine is starting to figure out, this is how we're going to defeat the Russians. We're going to sneak attack them when they're not looking. So we need to see what happens. This could actually be a very big deal for the rest of Europe who are dependent on the oil from Russia. So again, this could also be a tactic that Ukraine used that, hey, now you have to help us because we're going to start taking out your own supplies. So we'll see what happens. Again, very historical move from Ukraine.